So I'm now getting ready to go live.
Alrighty.
And that's why my phone rang.
Of course.
Because it makes perfect sense. We
Yes.
should be
I should
we should
actually
be going.
do. I should actually put my ringer off as well.
Sounds good. We're live. So I'm going to do a little intro while you do that. You just mind your own business, Vicki. I got your back.
Do you want me to take the audio off or you're okay?
You're fine. I'm doing your intro to people right now. So, hey, Facebook people, those of you on Vicki Arnstein over here, Vicki Arnstein's Facebook, welcome. Come on in, have a seat. You can sit as close as you want. She's having rosé. I'm having orange juice. Yeah. And I want to welcome you to Comic Spot. Comic Spot is where this Army veteran, that's me, vets out veterans of comedy. That would be like Vicki Arnstein today. She's in the house. We're so glad to have her. Guess what, you guys? She's a comedian. She's a producer of comedy shows in New York and Hawaii. Yeah, don't say I don't have the hookup for you. Hawaii, hello. Well, Victoria.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank
How's
you
it
for
going?
having me. Good.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so glad you're here. I've heard so much about your comedy from people in New York that I know. So are you right now holding out apocalypse in New York or Hawaii?
I'm in New York at the moment. I live in
And
both places, but yeah, I'm in New York.
how lucky are you? Most people use Alaska and Hawaii together, but not Victoria Arnstein, you guys.
I'm from New York, so I couldn't get rid of the New Yorker. It turns out that I went to Hawaii thinking they're gonna kick me off this island like Survivor. I had a feeling.
Yes.
And I felt this warm welcome from my neighbors' children. They kept calling me auntie and they kept calling my husband uncle. And then a couple of months in, it occurred to me, I think they want to just be in our will. I think that's what was up.
Yeah, getting in people's wills is a very crafty thing to do.
Auntie and uncle will do it.
Yeah.
They call everybody auntie and uncle in Hawaii. That's my point.
Do they really? I want to go there.
Yeah, you might have them want to be in your will as well.
Yeah, it's okay with me. Have you ever had people come up to you and say, I want to put you in my will? Has that ever happened?
Never.
It happened to me last week.
Not even my husband wants to put me in his will.
That'll be hilarious if my ex-husband names me in his will. That would be the biggest callback ever in America.
But wait a minute, you have to wonder what he's going to say to do in his will. Maybe you have to take out the trash every night in his apartment.
That could very well be. Yeah. Take care of his 5 brothers or something.
He might be very crafty. I'm in his will? I must go. And you find out that.
Yeah. Have you ever gone to the reading of a will because you didn't think you could trust what they were saying would be honest, and by hearing it without hearing it from the people reading it?
No, but I imagine it would be very interesting because the truth is I just published an article. I had an article that was published on Medium, and they sent me 5 cents. I filled out a whole tax form for 5 cents. And I'm like, I don't think I need to fill out a tax form again because this is what 5 cents for my article. I'm rich.
That's crazy.
I imagine that's what would happen when I go to a will reading. You have 10 cents.
Yes. My goodness sakes. So tell me about the article that you got published.
This one was about how I wrote, looting has a ripple effect, meaning it's not going to get you the respect you want in the end. And I got put on a racist list for comedians of who not to hire. And by 2 white people put me on that list. It was a black man's list, but the white people said, put Victoria Arnstein on this list. So now I'm on that list. I said, honestly, I didn't think anybody even knew me in New York, but great. I'm on a list. But yeah, I had to try to defend it, but I realized that, you know what, 90% of those people are not racist on that list, and the word is overused, and people just keep using the word so much, and it's not going to have any meaning anymore. I don't think they understand the true meaning of racist. Just now I was talking to a black guy who is a racist. He doesn't like white people. It's pretty known. He's a comedian in Hawaii, and he keeps writing back after I wrote uh, some uh, some guy from the Eagles or something football team, or I don't know. He said an anti-Semitic quote, which was a Hitler quote, and he didn't know there was anything wrong with it. So the black comedian writes on my page, well, that wasn't anti-Semitic. I said, well, define anti-Semitic if that wasn't. He said, well, he was just quoting Hitler. I said, let me just tell you something about quoting Hitler. This guy doesn't like Trump. I said, listen, you don't like Trump. You can't compare him to Hitler. Okay. One killed 6 million Jews off the face of the earth, and the other didn't. Until Trump does the same thing, you can't call him Hitler. And then he said something like, Roseanne Barr said blah, blah, blah. I said, Roseanne Barr said it against a woman that was a Democrat. He said, well, she's racist. I said, no, she's not. Every show she had was about stopping racism. She just doesn't like Democrats. You want to say she doesn't like Democrats. That's why she made fun of somebody. I said, she apologized, didn't get any retribution. But Jimmy Kimmel, Sarah Silverman, they did blackface. They're completely off the hook. That's a double standard. And to me, it's because they're Democrats. And I'm going to say it. And
well, they're not going to be off the hook for long, though, because they're on the Lolita Express list.
You think so?
Oh, I know so.
Well, Sarah Silverman did absolute, if you look, yeah, okay. I'm not saying to cancel anybody from 10 years ago that they did a joke. Right. I personally don't want to see that happen. Exactly. But if we're going to be fair, if we're going to cancel Roseanne, we must do it to everybody else. And Sarah Silverman did blackface, and she actually was quoted saying, I would kill myself if I was black. So how do you get past that one? Now, people make fun of Trump for being orange and fat, but if their old aunt that they love so much was orange and fat, they would never make fun of them. You don't make fun of your favorite aunt or your grandmother if they're fat, but you'll make fun of Trump because he's fat? No, you're doing it because you don't like the guy. People make fun of people they don't like.
Right. I don't know. There's a speaker that must be on kind of loud, because when I talk, I hear, sounds like I'm a great big bear in the woods. But anytime anybody says anything that the other person doesn't like, they hear racist. It's right. Like it's the race card is being used in the way it's not supposed to be used. It's used to shut people up and to cancel them and to use things against them that, like, okay, I'm 69 years old, Vicki. People that are younger, thank you. People that are younger than me assume just because of my age that I'm racist, let alone if I say anything, you know, and I have to be so careful because assumption is I'm racist because of my age. So, okay, that's ageist and racist.
I 100% agree. I just watched something where Jim Jeffries, hilarious comedian, said, give people some time. Give them time. Old people are just getting to gays. You want them to get to transgenders too? Give them time. And if not, let them die off and you'll have your own generation to talk to. It's enough.
It's enough now.
You can't convince people after a whole lifetime of hard wiring. You cannot. Yeah. And it's a shame that people just call them racist. They are what they are. Let them alone and do what you have to do. And don't be racist yourself. And that's it.
You know, the thing is that for us who are Jewish, the last thing we want to be is racist.
Of course.
People who are black. We know what happens. But you can't, the world is on edge right now. You can't get a point across because everybody.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm not going to say that black people don't hate Jews. There are many that do. I've seen them many times bullying Jews in the schoolyards and courtyards in Brooklyn. Let me tell you, I grew up with it. And I've also been held up by 6 black men, and I don't hate black people. I've also been held, my friend was shot by a black person in a jewelry store, let him bleed to death. I don't hate all black people. I dislike people for who they are, not by the color of their skin, their gender, their religion. I don't care because I don't want to be judged that way. Exactly. So when a black person judges me because I'm a white person, that's racist. And I'm sorry, but it is.
No, it is. We all just need to just cool our jets and work on what do we have in common? I don't know. We all have blood. Our heart usually pumps it on a regular. We are all stuck on a planet for a period of time. Can we
Yeah,
just get along or stay in our
yeah,
rooms? Stay in our rooms and shut up or get along.
yeah. Have a freaking rosé and shut the fuck up. Anyway, all I'm
So let's
saying
talk
is,
about your comedy.
okay, let's do that.
I hate politics. I spell it Polyticks.
Polly?
Ticks.
Yeah, I like that.
So thank you. So you started being funny most likely when you were 4 years old, if you're anything like me.
I'm one of 5 children, so attention was definitely needed. I was very shy as a child, but I switched schools, and I'll tell you why. Because I took a test to get into the 6th grade from the 5th grade, and I ended up having to take a test over the summer. I had to study for it, and I thought I was going to do amazingly. And I had a tutor and everything. I even had the test. I had the answers, so I knew I was going to do well. So after the test was over, a kid, they told me that I didn't pass. I said, I didn't pass. My father was alive at the time. He's dead now, but he's like, how did you not pass that test? You had everything going for it. Well, we were both very devastated. I switched schools. Because I switched schools, I had to either be funny or I had to offer something. So it turns out that I offered artwork. I was a very good artist and people wanted book report covers and all that stuff. So the 6th grade made me kind of okay. By the 7th grade, I was already taken in, but I wrote a book about it, so you guys could read it. It's being edited now. Anyway, so years later, I'm at a family function or some sort of function, like a bar mitzvah party or something. I don't even know. Maybe it was a wedding. And this kid that was in my class and took the test with me said, do you remember that time that we took that test to get into the 6th grade? I said, yeah. He goes, I took your test and switched it. You forgot to write your name. I forgot to write my name. He got a 35. I got a 97. You understand that I wanted to choke him? He changed the whole trajectory of my life. I moved to another school and I had to make friends and I had to hold a whole new, Anyway, I forgave him. But the point is, I didn't write my name because I knew all the answers so quickly. I forgot to write my name. Anyway, the point is, always write your name on a test first. So I ended up going to another whole school and getting all new friends, and I had to learn social skills. And social skills meant that every time I made a joke, I bonded with someone. So that clicked in my brain as a Pavlov effect. And then years later, when I worked in a jewelry store, years into working in different jewelry stores, I finally realized that laughter was the one thing that made me make a sale. I lost all my fear and told celebrities what exactly what I thought of them. And they would laugh. And it was like I had an audience behind the counter and I wanted to do stand-up so badly, but I was in my 20s. And I said, if I do stand-up, nobody will ever marry me. I will never be able to do this. And I didn't even try. Years later, I'm married with 3 kids. My husband says, you're funny, you should try stand-up. And he didn't even know I wanted to do it. So I ended up finally taking a class with Corey Kahaney. And as a twist, she's been on my show. So that's kind of a fun twist. But yeah, I took that class. I ended up going to Gotham Comedy. I'm already a theater background, so the stage didn't scare me. The second my feet hit the stage, I felt comfortable. I was like, I belong here. And
That's a fabulous story.
Yeah, thank you. And it's funny, when I walked off the stage, a man was standing there about to go on. He goes, was this your first time? So in front of 250 people, I said, yeah. He says, you're a natural. And I was like, thank you. And then all of a sudden he goes on and he's getting major laughs. And I went home and looked him up and it was Jim Gaffigan.
That's so special. Oh my God.
So it took me a few more months to finally do another one. And then I moved to Hawaii and I stopped for 3 years. And then I finally found something by accident, a group that was doing comedy. And I took it up again and I've been doing it ever since.
Wow. Tell me about the shows you produce.
So I got into producing shows, because I'm Jewish, so naturally. No, but I was doing shows in Hawaii and there were times there was a producer that didn't like me for saying something nice about Trump. She banned me from all her shows and she kept hiring me before that. So she was discriminating me for exactly what she didn't like about Trump. So I thought that was funny. And then I realized, why should I rely on her to hire me? I could make my own shows. Well, I made shows. Some venues, they didn't have great people. So I had to keep moving on. And then I ended up getting banned from another place. And I really do believe it was because I was Jewish, because I found out later that he was making fun of Jews. The owner of this restaurant was making fun of Jews. And he didn't give me a reason why he liked me, which is a clear sign of racism. He's like, I just don't like you. I'm like, you can't just not like someone. And so, and I wasn't even allowed to even buy a drink in the place. They wouldn't let me in. So I knew it was racism after that. So when I got to New York, I asked Al Al and I were talking on Facebook before that. And he said, I think you'd be a good fit for Broadway Comedy Club. And then I started putting on open mics, and then I started putting on shows. And then one by one, I started to realize and learn from people like Evan Weiss, who I've got friendly with. He's a good producer. I'll tell you.
Yes, he is.
If you don't like him or do like him, the guy knows how to put on a show. The guy could he's dialed in. He knows exactly what he's doing. I got advice from him. He offered me. He's a very nice guy.
I love him.
Yeah, and I learned from all the years of doing comedy what to do, what to bring, what to have, what to say. I now do bringer shows. I mix them in. I don't do 100% bringer, and I don't do 100% pro, but I mix them in because all that work of doing it myself, I was bringing 100 people myself, and I said, this is worse than doing a bringer show. I'd rather do a bringer show for 6 people than 100 people that I have to bring. I don't care for making the money. It's too hard. So now I have the people that come in, they're doing it because they also not only want stage time, but they're doing it because they're going to get to share a stage with somebody very famous. And it works out for everybody. And until this whole entire thing hit, I was having a great time. It was really starting to pay off.
Wow. So now, because of the pandemic, what do you think you'll do better in your life that you wouldn't have done better without the pandemic?
I needed a little bit of a break. That's fine. I am starting to want to reinvent myself where I'm even more free than I was before, where I'm not as afraid as I was. I know I'm fearless already, but I really, really want to get rid of 100% fear. Like, I don't want to have fear, and I don't want anyone to own me. So if I have to, I'll open up my own comedy club. You know what I mean? Like, that's where I'm at, where I want to get to a point where nobody could ever say you're fired because of whatever I'm saying or doing. I never want to feel that way. And so I don't strive for fame. I don't strive for, a television show. I don't strive for those things. I just want to make people laugh. I used to make people laugh at a old age home.
Me too.
That's what I did. You did?
Yeah. My mom's the one my mom passed away in.
Oh, I'm sorry. But yeah, I did it. And I felt really good about it. That was years ago also, before I knew I was ever going to be a comic. But I realized that laughter is one of the 8 pillars of health. And I really believe that it's one of the most necessities that are overlooked. People could lose sleep, so much of the time, and then all of a sudden their body just needs to sleep. People don't realize that they are accumulating so much more misery than they have to if they don't laugh enough. So I seek it out. I watch it on Netflix. I watch it on YouTube. I seek it out. I put on an open mic. Whatever it is, I have to be around comedians. And so I'll hang out at the Cellar, and I want to meet other comedians, not because their lifestyle is so great outside of comedy, but they're observant people by nature, and they're funny, and they make me think, and they're ironic, and I love being around that. And that's something that I didn't know I loved so much until I missed it. And so, yeah, during the pandemic, I really seek out comedy more than ever. And I also want to reinvent myself where I'm completely not owned by anything or anyone. And I want to maybe make a brand out of it, or maybe make myself reinvented like Rodney Dangerfield wasn't funny before he did Rodney. And 17 years later, he became Rodney. So maybe I'll be some character. I don't know yet. I'm trying to figure that out. We'll see.
Wonderful. It's been so lovely. You don't understand how happy I am to have met you here.
Oh,
and I want to continue having you on anytime you have anything you want to promote.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank
anything
you.
Inspiring. If you just want to get on here and say something that's not political, that inspires people to be better, because Lord knows we need things to be better. People need to be better. Anything you want to say that is encouraging. But yeah, come back, please. I have to keep it short just because of money. Don't even ask my story.
Okay, I'll ask you another time.
It's T-Mobile, you guys. I don't have Wi-Fi, so I have to pay through the nose.
Okay, I got it.
Thank
Thank
you
you so
so
much for
much.
having me.
You
And I hope
betcha.
to meet you soon in person.
You're going to get the biggest hug. You're the best.
You could be on my shows.
Yay. And you can be on, I don't have one, but you can be on this show.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Take
Bye.
care. Bye.
Love you lots.
Thank you. You too.